Hello everyone, welcome to the next session of SAP Security. In this session we will be discussing about structural authorization. As we seen in our previous sessions, we have two different type of authorization controls in SAP HCM. One is structural authorization, another one is standard role authorization. So in this session let's discuss about structural authorization. Structural authorizations are used to restrict access to an organization structures. It controls access to data stored in time-dependent structures like org structure or qualification catalog. So for here you can see a structural profile. So it's depend on what you define. So let's say, as we said, the example organization structure is based on organization structure. You can define a structural authorization. Moreover, structural authorization is used to define or used to restrict user to access a part of organization structure. Yeah, as you see in this diagram, this is a structural authorization. This is normal general authorizations. The structural authorization along with the general authorization which provides authorization for a specific user. So this using the structural authorization you can restrict a part of an organization, whether it can be assigned to a user or it cannot be assigned to user. Same like other authorization object which we have seen, POGIN and POGIN XX, this structural authorization also can be enabled in the system. So you have to enable this structural authorization if you wanted to have a structural authorization in your system. That also enable using the same transaction code OOAC. Then you can switch on saying 1, then it will be enabled. So if it is enabled, the structural authorization along with the standard authorization, then you will have the effective authorization. Using, as we said, using structural authorization we can limit the user to access one specific unit or one specific area of your structural profile. Let's see how we enable this first in OOAC. So our system, go to the transaction code OOAC. If you see this one is for structural authorization or PD, personal data, then which is 1, that means structural authorization check is enabled. Then how does the structural authorization is defined? Let's go to SPRO, then we check this structural authorization. Go to SPRO, go to SAP reference IMG, then you go to personal management. So inside IMG you navigate to personal management. Okay, here is personal management. Open personal management. Then you go to organizational management. Go to organizational management. Basic setting. Then under basic setting you have authorization management. Then under authorization management you have structural authorization. You may wonder what are the other stuff. This is maintaining authorization. If you click here it will directly take you to PFCG, or if you click here it will, again it's for the profiles. Another one is roles, and maintaining user master record, it will take you to SU01. So that's for maintaining roles and profiles. Then here is the structural authorization. To maintain a structural authorization profile, if we can click here, then it will take you to maintaining structural authorization profile. Here you can create new profile. For example, this was the one profile which we will be using. Let's say you have a profile called manager. So normally what you will do is you will create a profile. After that you will select this particular profile, then you go to authorization profile maintenance, then you will maintain the profiles. Here you can specify what all this user can see, what plan version and object type and stuff like this. This structural profile is generally created by HR functional consultant. Again, it depends. And assign structural authorization using the next one. So these two, the main one which you will be using, instead of going through SPRO, if you directly want to go using a transaction code, you can go to OOSP, that is to define the structural authorization. Then OOSB is to assign the authorization profile to users. Maybe let's see an example, then we will understand this better. Our user, the one which we created, that was security HR student 2. Let's go to PA 30. So right now this user is able to view this particular personal number. I will assign a structural authorization which is not from this specific area. So if you see in this OOSP, this manager basically does not have anything. It's not, it have no values actually, or there is no object assigned. Since this manager profile does not have any objects, let's use this as a dummy value to assign to this user. So I will go to OOSB to assign the profile. Click here, then go to new entry, then I put the user security HR student 02, then authorization profile manager, start date, some date and end date, and this is an include. Okay, so I save this. It asks you to create a TR if you need to transport it, otherwise you can just save it into a temporary transport for local. Save this. Okay, now we assign the authorization profile manager, which does not have any object assigned, to this user. Now let's see how does this going to work. That means even though it has all the authorizations, it should not display any HR data. That's what it means. Let's go to this user. Say let's refresh. PA 30. Go to the personal number 000. If you see, you cannot display anything of this one. Let's take another example. Okay, this one also same. So you cannot find the information of this user that you are not authorized to use. So even though this user, this HR 02 student 02 had the authorization to display some of the elements of this particular personal number, it is not able to display because the structural authorization is restricting these personal numbers. So that is the use of structural authorization. So based on the structural authorization, you can limit a particular structure from the user. So that's the advantage of structural authorization. So using structural authorization, you can grant one specific authorization. In a complex structural profile, then this helps very lot, because this is a quite simple one. Let's say you have so many multiple units, so one user sitting in one department need to have access to a specific set of organization unit. Then you can assign using structural authorization, even though they have authorization for all info type across this unit, then they will be able to see only one. Let's say in this particular example, I want this user have authorization for all the info type, but they need to see only these employees coming from this unit. Then I can assign only this profile or only this object ID to that user. Then they will be able to see only this one. So that is the use of only this, only these units, the people comes under only this unit. So that is the use of this structural authorization. With this, we are coming to the end of this session. Thank you very much for listening. I will see you in the next session. Bye bye.